Hi, this is Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today we're finishing off our series looking at the contents of this box from Cult Pens in the UK. Previously we've looked at the inks, we've looked at the narwhal. Today we're going to take a look at the Visconti pen. So join me now down on the mat, let's take a look at the pen, we'll ink it up, do a writing sample, and I'll give you my first impressions of this pen from Visconti. Welcome to the mat, let's fetch in the box. So here we are, this is it, it's a plain box, just plain white going all the way around. The bottom here, we've got the fact of what it is. I'm a bit concerned here, it says steel M because I ordered abroad, but we'll have a look when we see the nib. So other than that, it's plain white. The end here we've got a B, so I'm hoping that means broad. We've got the V for that Visconti. And on the other end, we've got Breeze. So I'm just going to push the box out. So I'm putting my finger in through this end. Just let me guide this out. Let me turn that around. We can see here we've got the Visconti there on a clip. And then we've got the gorgeous blue colour of the blueberry material that this pen's made out of. Just going to lift off that top part. Here we've got warranty information. Then we've got the Visconti pen itself. Let me see if there's anything else underneath. I don't think there is. No, that's it. That's all that's in the box. Move the box out to the side and fetch in my pen rest. Let's take the pen out of the wrapper. Take a look at what we've got. So this is the Visconti Breeze in blueberry. Just going to turn it around. Look at the colour on there. We've got white, got some dark blue there, got dark blues and turquoises, and pale blues. That looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? Let's take a closer look at the pen. So the top here, it's got a dome on it, and it's got this silver running right the way around and into the clip. The clip is a Visconti clip, so I'm just pinching in the middle, and that's pulling up quite nicely. The cap itself, once we get away from that dome, it's the same width all the way down until we come to the bottom of the cap. The band here is not the bottom of the cap. That finishes just above where the band starts. And there's a noticeable drop between the cap and the body. That cap there, we've got Breeze, we've got another Breeze, and we've got another Breeze. So 3 breezes. From that silver, there's a tiny step up from the band into the rest of the body. To my eye, this is now tapering down all the way until we get to the end. And again, we've got a dome there, and there's a little silvered dot. All in all, the pen looks really nice, really pleased with it. Let's open it up. So I'm going to try twisting, then I need to realise this is not a twist cap, it's a pull-off. Now there is a little magnet there, so it does guide itself back on at the bottom, but it's a pull-off cap. Pulling that off reveals the section and then this gorgeous looking nib. I think that nib looks really nice. To me, it looks like it's a small nib. We'll take a look at some comparisons in a couple of minutes. Then we'll be able to see if that's a number 5 or number 6 style nib. But the nib, yeah, it's this gorgeous silver colour. I don't see a breather hole on it. We've got this really nice logo. Then it comes down and we've got Visconti. Then below that, we've got B for broad. So I don't know why the barcode was labelled as medium, but definitely it's a broad nib. One of the things I've discovered since getting into fountain pens, when I first started, about a year, 18 months ago, I thought to myself, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get fines and extra fines because they're what I thought I'd like. I don't. I actually really like the broad nibs. Medium I'll go to at a squeeze, but out of preference, I would always go for a broad at least. I've got a couple of stub nibs. I need to play around more with those. At the moment, every pen I get, if there's a broad version, that's what I get. We've come down from the nib and we've come into the section. The section pulls out the same material as the rest of the pen. We'll unscrew the section to get into the main body. There's a cartridge converter. There we go, that goes up and down quite nicely. Let me just put this back together again and fetch in my other pen stand so we can do our comparisons. So here we have the Visconti Breeze. I'm going to fetch in a Pilot Metropolitan. Lengthwise, they're very similar. Obviously, the Breeze is wider, but lengthwise, yeah, they're not too bad. So this one here, it's the Narwhal Schuylkill, and it's in Pod Peter Navy. I would say this is a wider pen. The Narwhal is a piston filler. Let's take a look at our nibs. I have to get used to that not screwing off the cap. So definitely looking at the nibs next to the Schuylkill, Schuylkill's got a number 6 nib, that Visconti one definitely smaller. Let's move the Schuylkill out of the way and move that over. So here the Pilot Metropolitan and the Visconti, I would say those nibs, they're very much of a similar size. So it's not an overly big nibbed pen. I'm going to step away from the computer now. I'm going to go away, clean out the pen. When we come back, we'll look at the ink, we'll fill the pen, do a writing sample, and then I'll give you my first impressions of this pen. Okay, here I am back with a pen that's been cleaned out, hopefully getting rid of any excess oil or grease and anything that was left over from the manufacturing. Let's take a look at the ink. So today's ink is Noodler Navajo Turquoise. I really like this. This is a gorgeous colour, and I'm hoping it's going to be a fairly good match for this blueberry colouring. Let's fetch the pen in and take a quick look. There we go. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll know better when we write with it, but there's certainly some of the darker colours in the swirls do pick up this turquoise colour. It's a nice flowing ink, this. I've never had any problems with it in any pen I've had. And I've got to be honest, it's one of my favourite in that blue family. Let's take that away. In comes the ink bottle. Take it apart. So the converter's already all the way down at the bottom into the ink. I'll twist it and fetch that ink up. I'm just going to then go back down again, just so I do whatever I can to get a full fill. There we go. And another nice full fill on that pen. Let me just pop this back together. Just going to wipe off the excess ink, which is now all over my fingers. Okay, pop the pen back together and take away the ink. So I will apologise, I've managed to get myself covered in ink today. So let's fetch in the notepad. It's the Oxford notepad using that optic paper. I love this notepad. I love this paper. It's really, really nice. I've got a number of different pads of this now, and I've managed to get some A5 ones, which I was really pleased with, because this is B5, so too big to really carry around all the time. Let's do some writing. So we are working here with a Visconti Breeze. Just got a broad nib. The ink, Noodler Navajo Turquoise. This is a nice pen to write with. I'm looking forward to getting some time with this one, I can tell you. Yep, so we've got some nice colour there coming through. That turquoise ink looks really nice, and I think it does quite match the pen. Drying times. There's immediate. Looks fairly wet, doesn't it? 10 seconds. 30 seconds. That's drying off quite nicely. 1 minute. After a minute, well, there's still a little bit of wetness there, so not one of the fastest drying inks I've got, but still, it's a nice looking ink. I'm going to move the mic so you can hear the pen writing. That's nice to write with. There's some nice feedback coming through there. I can feel myself writing. It's not one of those where it's so smooth that it's like you're writing on glass. Really enjoyable writing experience. If I'm looking at here, I've got some nice shading coming through. You know, we've got the T, the J there. Got Up here we've got the O, we've got on the C. Really nice looking ink. Really like this ink in this pen. Next test, will it write without any pressure? Yes, it will. I may stop doing this because I'm not sure if it adds any value, because who writes like this anyway? But at least we know that you don't need a lot of pressure to get it to write. Line variation. If you press quite hard, you get some. But for normal writing, I'm not seeing much in the way of line variation. But I didn't buy the pen for line variation. I bought it because I like the look of it, and it's a Visconti. It's the first Visconti I've got. I thought, well, this will be a good introduction to Visconti pens for me. So what are my first thoughts on this pen? This is a beautiful looking pen. It's going to be up there with some of the nicest looking pens that I've got. It's a nice size in my hand. So as you can see, it's going well up past the crook of my hand. I do hold my pens low down, so be aware of that if you hold your pens higher up. Does it post? Yeah, I would say it posts quite nicely. There's no metal in there, so we're doing plastic on plastic. So I'd be happy to use that posted, although normally I don't. So it's a little bit irrelevant for me. Things I don't like about the pen. I don't like the nib. The nib is too small for me. I would have preferred a number 6 nib on there. That's not to say the nib isn't a nice writer, but I paid $163 and I would have liked to have seen that number 6 nib. This band here, I can understand why it's there. It's there because of the magnet, but I would have still liked to have seen this band on the end of the cap as opposed to where it is. Because when I look at all my other pens, when they've got a metal band, they're virtually always on the end of the cap. It's comfortable to write with. It's a nice writing experience. Is it a pen I would buy another one of? To be honest, at this moment, I don't think I will. Because for what I paid for it, I think I can get a lot of other pens that are in that similar price range, which I think I'll enjoy using more. I'm not saying I don't like it. I do. It's a pen I'm looking forward to using. It's just not one I can see me buying the whole range of colours. As an entry point into Visconti, I think it's really good. Would I buy a different Visconti pen? Yes, I still would, because this is just there just to let me experience what they're like and the quality that they come at, and yeah, I'm really impressed with this from my first few minutes of using it. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you got a Visconti Breeze? Have you got another Visconti pen? What are your thoughts on them? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Remember, every time you like, every time you comment, well, it just helps YouTube to surface the content for other people. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.